Well, thank you all for coming here tonight. That is indeed good news, but I think we still have to be very cautious of what's down the pipe on this whole issue, and I'll get to that shortly. But to give you a bit of background, Pacific Spirit Park Society is a community-based volunteer organization that advises and assists Metro Vancouver Parks in the operation and maintenance of Pacific Spirit Regional Park. We are, in fact, the community arm of Metro Vancouver Parks. And actually, I urge you all to become members. It's free, it's painless. Just go to our website, www.pacificspiritparksociety.org, and there's membership forms there. And I think the more people that are members, it would certainly help us a lot. As a society, we are completely opposed to the removal of any land from the park. We feel, as obviously many of you do, that this beautiful forested area must be protected in its entirety. One question that keeps coming up and is seeming to cloud the issue is one of Aboriginal land claims. When the park was created, it was done so without prejudice to future land claims. And what this means is the Musqueam were free to pursue their land claims even though this area was made into a park. Now, we are certainly not saying that the Musqueam should not receive compensation for the loss of this land, but what is happening here now is completely outside any land claims negotiation. And this fact has been confirmed by the Premier himself. And this is an important issue. Everything that we're going to talk about tonight, and Mr. Zlotnik's proposal, as well as others, are completely outside lands claim negotiations. So the transfers of the golf course, which likely will go ahead anyway, and any transference of parkland by the government is effectively a gift. We can only speculate why this is being done at this time, and some rumors suggest it may have something to do with the Olympics, but I certainly can't comment on that. As a society, we have no say in what happens to the golf course since it's outside park boundaries. Now, I can certainly talk that personally, but as a society, I cannot. However, when the Save the Course group suggested swapping 120 acres of parkland, we started to act. And we took this very seriously because the individual leading the course movement was a long-time Liberal insider. Now, I've said here in my little list, I don't know if the provincial government is seriously considering the golf course swap option, and we hear tonight that it is not. They've been extremely tight-lipped about that. I have written to the Premier on behalf of the Pacific Spirit Park Society and asked him that question and just received a form letter. So it's very hard to get information out of the government. One thing I do know, and Director Gibson next to me may be able to shed a little bit more light on this, but one thing I do know is the government is seriously talking about transferring a 35-acre parcel of land out of the park. There are also talk about transferring another smaller section, but I don't know where that is, and I don't know any more about the information. But from a society point of view, we are completely opposed to the removal of any land, underscore any land, from the park. Another thing that concerns us, and this is a good example here tonight, is that if the government chooses not to swap 120 acres for park, what we're hearing is not going to happen, you, the public, will see that as a victory. And you'll say, well, 35 acres is better than 120 acres. We've dodged that bullet. Well, we haven't. I think the 35 acres is still on the table, and we have to be very, very diligent that we keep an eye on what's going on here. The Society feels that not one single acre should come out of the park. With population increases and densification, green space is even more important to a livable city. We cannot afford to give up parkland for any reason. Pacific Spirit Park, as you well know, is a jewel in Metro Vancouver's park system. It is a wilderness area comprising mixed and coniferous forest, ancient bog, and miles of foreshore. The region is a habitat for a myriad of plants and animals. It must be protected in its entirety, in perpetuity, for the use and enjoyment of all British Columbians, both native and non-native, for now and for generations to come. So coming here tonight, you've told the provincial government that touching the park is not an option now or in the future, and I thank you very much for doing that. I still think we have to be diligent. I think you should still write to the government and make it known that no part of the park is up for grabs. And I would like to conclude, first of all, by saying the park, really the future of the park is in your hands. And just to finish off, I came across a great quote, and maybe this is relevant to what was just said about the legislature. This is attributed to Governor of California, George Dumikjian. I don't have to pronounce that properly. And he says, the difference between golf and government is that in golf you can't improve your lie.